High above the smuggler's moon, Nar Shaddaa. We are live tonight from the Outer Rim with another Star Wars Squadrons update. And Hall, I need you to strap yourself in real tight. Lock those S-foils in attack position because we've got 5 amazing topics for you guys tonight. We are talking about details, new details emerging about the tutorial / prologue. We've got free look. Will non-VR players be able to free look? We've got voice chat. Will voice chat be a thing cross-platform? Ship customization details in a very lengthy interview. And then offline play, guys. Will offline play, will an internet connection be required to play Star Wars Squadrons? You guys ready for all these details? Let's hit it, baby. As always, pilots, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button down below so you can stay up to date on all the latest Star Wars Squadrons news right here in the hall. Here we go, guys. First thing we're going to talk about today are new details coming out about the tutorial / prologue. The community manager over on the official Star Wars Squadrons Discord, Charlemagne, had this to say. We actually start with the prologue, so when the game kicks off, it's set right after the Death Star has blown up Alderaan. So we're going all the way back to A New Hope. Now, there isn't a whole lot of space action in A New Hope, especially around about the time where Alderaan is blown up. So this leads me to believe, would this potentially be some sort of Death Star training mission where you're going up against the first Death Star? So it would be pretty interesting to see if we actually get that trench run at the end of A New Hope. Wedge Antilles spotted in the trailer as well, so maybe you play as Wedge at this part. This is all pure speculation on my behalf, but interesting to see. We go as far back as A New Hope. And for those of you guys that don't know, the game actually takes place primarily after the second Death Star has blown up. All right, guys, let's talk about the next topic here. We're going to talk about free look. Now, for those of you guys that are unfamiliar with free look or maybe haven't played a flight sim in some time, this is the notion that you can kind of look out all the different windows in your cockpit. Now, this has been pretty much a staple in all flight sim games for as long as the original X-Wing, if you go back to the early 90s. Being able to look out different parts of the cockpit to see, follow, and track your enemies. So this has been modernized a little bit over the last 10 or 15 years with things like Track IR and voice commands and things like that. But this game will obviously feature this in VR, and you'll be able to move your head around and look all around your cockpit to follow your targets. Obviously, a lot of people are just going to be relying on the targeting computer to do that. But if you're going for the full immersion experience, that's going to be absolutely amazing in VR. So creative director Ian Fraser confirmed this via tweet. He says if you're not playing in VR, there's a button that you can press, toggle free look in the cockpit. So if you are, very familiar with flight sims, you just toggle that button on. You can kind of follow your targets around, and then I'm sure it probably recenters pretty easily on your main targeting reticule. So interesting stuff there. Let's keep it rolling here, guys. We've got topic number 3. Will voice chat be supported for cross-platform play? It was confirmed earlier that voice chat will 100% be supported in cross-platform play. So if you've been holding off on whether or not to buy a mic or whatever system you're playing on, I think now is a good confirmation. And again, we will have voice packs for those people that can't talk out loud in front of their families, or for whatever reason, if you just prefer not to give away your voice online, you can certainly use the voice packs that they have pre-established in the game, and there will be additional voice packs you can unlock down the road. And while we're talking technical with Star Wars Squadrons, they just released updated specs for the game for non-VR players, the recommended, and then minimum for VR players. You're going to be on Windows 10 with an AMD Ryzen 7 2700X or an Intel i7 7700, along with 16 gigabytes of RAM, a graphics card of RX 480 or equivalent. On the NVIDIA side, it's going to be a GTX 1060 or equivalent, and roughly 40 gigabytes of hard drive space. They did increase that from the initial 30 they quoted, but pretty awesome to see that the game's only 40 gigabytes. I don't know about you guys, but I'm always, as a content creator, struggling with hard drive space. So pretty cool there. And obviously those specs I read just now were recommended for non-VR players, but the absolute minimum if you are going to be playing in VR, obviously you're going to want a bit of a hefty graphics card because with VR you're rendering 2 images. We'll be doing a separate video around the different VR headsets on the market right now. Okay guys, the next topic we've got on the agenda is ship customization. There was another recent interview with IGN Japan with Ian Fraser, the game's creative director, where he talked about toggling on and off the cosmetics in the game. For you guys that don't know, there's a currency called glory that you earn through just normal playing of the game, and that can be used to buy cosmetic upgrades in the game. For those of you guys that tuned in for the last video, they showcased some of the customization that is available, and man, it was a little bit of a turnoff for me. They had a really bright yellow stripes on the wings of a TIE fighter, and it just really looked sort of off-putting. And that was like the one thing with the game I was like, I just don't know about that. That was kind of weird. So good to know that you'll be able to not only turn off all cosmetics in the game, meaning you could have it to be the most authentic Star Wars experience out there, or you can just turn off your cosmetics or the cosmetics of other ships. Also, in this same interview, Ian talked about a hardcore mode, which can be enabled as soon as you complete the tutorial/prologue. And what this is, it's basically just using the instrumentation you see in the cockpit, no HUD whatsoever, the most cinematic experience possible, just using what you have built into that X-Wing or TIE Fighter, whatever you're flying. So pretty interesting things to note here, that they're going to allow it to be a very authentic Star Wars experience. They're not going to force pink TIE Fighters on you if that's not something you want. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I think for me, I kind of fall along the line of I like the customization, some of the stuff we saw in the trailers with like the, the Millennium Falcon there, little dangly thing, kind of like Hans Dice. There was also an Ewok bobblehead there as well. To me, all that stuff is very fun, but I definitely don't want to see pink TIE Fighters flying around or bright, yellow TIE Fighters. That's something that just takes you kind of out of the feel of the game. But maybe I'll change on that as the game releases. And the last thing we're going to talk about today is offline play being confirmed. This game will not require a persistent internet connection if you just want to do dogfighting against AI or do fleet battles against AI. It is all 100% offline, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, it really seems like EA has stepped their game up in terms of listening to player sentiment and feedback. The fact that I don't know if I would ever play offline play, but just the fact that it's available shows they're kind of listening. And obviously, we've talked about the no microtransactions approach, the smaller price tag, and $40 for this game. Very exciting stuff. And one little thing I missed here that didn't really warrant its own topic, but I just wanted to bolt it on to the end of the video, is someone asked the question about the game's music and the score, and will it be dynamic like the X-Wing series of games? If for those of you guys that didn't play those games, it was situational based on kind of how the music would pick up. And Ian, the creative director, said that it'll be dynamic and multi-layered, especially in fleet battles, but the quality will be a little bit better than MIDI, which was the type of music used on the original X-Wing series. So again, another nod to that old X-Wing franchise. Absolutely fantastic games. And can't wait to hear that classic John Williams score right in my ears. It's going to be absolutely magical, guys. All right, Hall, that about wraps us up for another Star Wars Squadrons video. Whether you're a spice runner, a blockade buster, or just a pilot looking to fight for the right cause, the Hall wants to fly with you. Swing on by that Discord, hit that like and subscribe button down below, and I will see you among the stars.